Mm.
All right, you can start.
Okay. Good morning, everybody. This presentation is impromptu, but do our very best to deliver. We'll be talking about data analysis with natural language processing. I know this topic might sound a little bit strange for some of us, and for some other, it's not a new topic as well. So today we would have a deep dive as to how data analysis is being performed using natural language processing. Yeah, so what we have on our table today would be a few things. Do not get scared as to how they sound. We'll be understanding them one after the other. So we'll be going through what is natural language processing, what are the components of natural language processing, the techniques that are involved in natural language processing, as well as the tools that will enable us to perform natural language processing. We'll also be having an overview as to the use cases of natural language processing and, the very big question as to why natural language processing is important. And as well, just having a feel of the future of natural language processing. Yeah, so basically what is natural language processing? The natural language processing is a field of artificial intelligence in which computers analyze, understand, and derive meaning from human language in a smart and useful way. So what does that mean essentially? So it means that computers are now very intelligent these days, that they would be able to, analyze human language, just like the way I'm speaking in English. They would be able to analyze English language in a very smart and useful way, even more than humans can do. So natural language understanding helps machine to read text, by simulating human ability to understand a natural language such as English, Spanish, or Chinese. And what that means as well is that a machine can be able to analyze a text. So a text can come in different formats, can be a data consisting of, a particular language or a particular collection of sentences or topics, yeah? And the machine will be able to understand it just like the way we humans sit down and read a particular text. You might at your leisure just pick up a book and want to read a book and understand what the book entails. Same way machines are intelligent these days to read up a text and understand what is inside that text. So that's basically what natural language processing is. Wouldn't be, having too much complex definition as to that. I think that is quite concise for us to, digest. Yeah, without further ado, let's see what are the components of natural language processing. Yeah, so natural language processing has basically two components. Yeah, so we have the natural language understanding and the natural language generation, right? So what is natural language understanding and what is natural language generation? So for somebody that is getting into natural language processing, you would want to consider these two components, right? So one of them is natural language understanding. And what does this mean, right? It helps the machine to understand and analyze human language. So just like I explained earlier, the machine would have, would be exposed rather to a set of information, yeah, and the machine will be able to, read and interpret this information just like the way human beings can sit down and read and interpret information. Natural language understanding, are used in business application, to understand customers' problem in both spoken and written language. So businesses these days that deal with a whole lot of data and a whole lot of um, data format. Yeah. So some businesses might receive inputs in different languages, and not just input. Sometimes they receive spoken feedbacks. So they will be having some sort of machine that will be able to read those feedbacks, be it in Chinese, be it in English, be it in Yoruba, be it in Hausa, and they'll be able to analyze this text, using natural language understanding. So that's one component of natural language processing. So the other component of natural language processing is natural language generation. So as the name implies, the machine helps to, generate some sort of computerized data into natural language representation. So what do that mean, right? Sometimes we would have a format of text, right? And the machine will be able to, translate this text, from a computerized data into a natural language representation. So there are some texts, for example, that make no meaning at all, to us. So machines these days are now intelligent enough to translate these texts that don't have meaning and make it, into a natural language representation. So by the time these machines are done with analyzing this text, we'll now then be able to understand what this text means. Some of the few processes that natural language generation does is text planning, right? We'd have a text and it can analyze it and plan that text for us. We have sentence planning and we have text realization. Sometimes we might have a whole bunch of text and we still don't even understand what it means, right? Machines these days can be trained to be able to help us, realize as to what that text means. I hope that we got that correctly. So if you are a little bit confused at this moment, do not get confused. The major difference between natural language understanding and natural language generation is that natural language understanding, processes the reading and the interpreting of that language, while the natural language generation, is the process of writing and generating language. So yeah, we now know what the components of natural language processing is. So we'll move forward to, the techniques that are involved in natural language processing. What are these things that we can do with natural language processing? I know most of us are curious at this moment, So yeah, there are many approaches as to natural language processing. You might think of different things in your head, and some may be vague, some can get complex as the time goes. So part of the techniques that are common in the entity recognition, summarization, topic modeling, text classification, keyword extraction, and lemmatization and stemming. Yeah, we'll be going over each of these and explaining, what they actually mean. And we'll also see, few examples, real life situation as to how these things are being deployed. So yeah, the first would be sentimental analysis. Sentimental analysis is not new to the markets today because, a wide array of industries these days, make use of sentiment analysis, to make decisions and better, derive insights from the data they receive from their customers. So what is sentiment analysis? So this is the dissection of data, be it a text or a voice. So just to clear things, we've been measuring data since, data can be anything. Data can be in form of text, data can be in form of voice, data can be in every form of input that we can think of. So this is the section of the data in order to determine whether it's positive, neutral, or negative. Yeah. So sentiment analysis can transform large archive of customer feedbacks, reviews, or social media reaction into actionable and qualified result. So what do these mean basically? Yeah. Businesses like e-commerce businesses, which have to do with a whole lot of customer base, right? From time to time, they will be very interested in knowing if customers are satisfied with their product, if customers, are not satisfied with their product, or if customers, are just in between, having mixed emotion as to how their product is. A business will want to know all of this. Why do they even want to know all of this? They want to know because if their product is being tagged as positive by customers, they would, have the confidence that, okay, my product is good. We can keep putting this product into the business. This product is something that people like, right? But if they get to know that some product, get negative feedback from people, people don't like what you are selling, right? This would give you an insight as to how to improve your product, right? And all of those. You would also be able to know if people are having mixed feeling about your product. So some people, they might not really like your product, and as well, they might not really hate it. They're just in between, right? These result helps us to be able to, further improve our services to these people. So what does sentiment analysis do basically is that it helps you, gather all of those feedbacks from your customers, right? All the customers' feedback. Hey, I like this product. Hey, I don't like this product. Yeah, this product is just there. Oh, I had a problem with this product. It gathers all of this data and it classifies this data for you. So it will determine if the intent of the customer feedback is positive, right? If the intent of the customer's feedback is negative, or if the intent of the customer's feedback is neutral. So as a business owner, I see all of this sentiment analysis and I'll be like, okay, oh, that product, yes, it's good. That product is not good, try and improve it. This product is in between, let's also try and improve it. So that's how sentiment analysis work. So we also have name entity recognition. And what does this mean? It's a natural language processing technique that tags, name identities within text and extract them for further analysis. We don't need to go over what all of this so many English is. What this basically means is that sometimes we would have inputs, and just like I said earlier, our inputs can come in the form of a text and they can come in the form of a voice, right? So when these inputs come, we are trying to derive meaning from this input. So what are the kind of techniques we can perform on this input to derive more meaning? So that's where we have name entity recognition. So in this text that we are having, we can determine if a particular word, is a date, or if a particular word is a country, or if a particular word is a name, or if a particular word, is a country category and all of those, if a particular word is a continent and all of those. All of these name entities can be extracted using this technique. Just like we have it on our screen, we have this example. I don't know if I can zoom this in a little bit. Sorry about that. Oh, no, I don't know. Okay, apologies for that. For those that can see it well, let me just go ahead to explain. So we have a sentence here saying, okay, Barack Hussein Obama, born in August 4th, 1961, is an American attorney and a politician. So using name entity recognition, we'll be able to recognize from this text that, oh, Barack Obama is a name, right? August 4th, 1961 is a date of birth, right? America is the name of a country, United States as well. Then we have January is a date, Democratic Party. The system can tell us that is a political vocabulary and all of those. So that's about the name entity recognition. We'll be able to recognize, the categories of different topics or different entities. Yeah, so we have two other, I'll be going over them as quickly as I can just to save time. We have the text summary, right? This is a very straightforward one. So just like we would have input as well, just like I said earlier, inputs can be in text and they can also be in voice or every other format. Sometimes you might receive input, that doesn't really make a lot of sense, right? It consists of so many jargons, so many scientific and technical terms that you as well, you might not understand. So using the text summary technique, the machine will be able to dissect all of this for you and summarize them into a very concise manner so that it will be more meaningful to the person working with that data. So it's just like having a bunch of text or a bunch of voice input, and the machine is helping you to summarize it so that it will better make meaning. How easy can this get, right? It gets even a lot easier when you have larger number of inputs and the machine will be there for you. You don't have to do so much work. Sometimes, we have job descriptions like the proofwriters, we have proofwriters and we have people that are transcribers, right? These are people that, sit in front of their computers with a large number of text document and they'll start summarizing, trying to make meaning, removing one jargon from this text message. Why all of those wahala? I don't know why people are still doing those jobs, but these days in natural language processing, the machine will be able to do all of those for you, to be able to summarize the text for you, to be able to remove all of the unwanted words for you. Yeah, so that's text summary. We're heading on to topic modeling, right? So what is topic modeling? Yeah, it's an unsupervised natural language technique, that utilizes artificial intelligence programs to tag and group text clusters that share common topics. So this is a very interesting one. How interesting is this topic modeling? Is because when we receive inputs, whether be it a text input or a voice input, sometimes we just really want to know, okay, what is this text deriving at? Or what is this text, what are the understanding of this text, right? We want to know, what are the topics that this text is, kind of associated with, Using topic modeling, we'll be able to extract from a large pool of data and know, the categories as to what topic this particular sentence fall into. And that, just like we have it on our screen, we can see a word cloud of different words and topic. So we might have text and we'll be able to classify that a particular part of that text saying, yeah, everything in this particular part of text is a language. Everything in this particular part of text, is a learning topic, or is a task, or is an algorithm, or it talks about systems and all of those. This is very important for business owners as well, because sometimes you just want to derive, what are the topics, that these people are talking about, or what are the topics that this text is trying to make us understand. So that's the topic modeling. Yeah, so we've been able to understand the different techniques as to how we can perform natural language processing. So next on our list would be the tools that are involved, in natural language processing. So you now know what natural language processing is. You know the components as to natural language processing, the techniques that you can take, to perform natural language processing, and all of these are getting interesting in your head. But the one big question is, how do you even get started with natural language processing? Do you just sit down and start imagining natural language processing? No, obviously. There are tools that are available for you to, work with natural language processing. Just like every other professional has tools as to how they work, in their field. A mechanic would have to use his tools, his screwdrivers and hammers and all of those things to be able to work in the workshop, right? Just like the same way Mr. Benjamin would have to use Zoom and the ability to live stream to be able to work with KD section. Same way as natural language processing, you'd have to, have a set of tools for you to perform all of those interesting things we just talked about, right? So yeah, natural language processing, powers a lot of advanced tools these days. So we have people that use natural language processing in building chatbots, voice assistants, predictive text, speech and text application, all of these natural language driven application, permeates our life. And they are evolving significantly in the last few years. So some of the tools we have today is the natural language toolkit. This is the collection of different packages that will be able to perform natural language processing. So in this toolkit, we have things like tokenization, we have things like lemmatization, we have things like stemming, we have things like stop word removal, we have things like the topic modeling and all of those. This package collection gives us the liberty to be able to use each of all these micro tools to be able to perform one operation to another. We have the spacey, we have the text block, spacey and text block are, tools that helps us, in performing things like sentiment analysis. Yeah, we can use text block to perform sentiment analysis to know whether a particular word is a positive word or a particular word is a neutral word or a particular word is negative. We have PyTorch. These are advanced tools that makes us simulate in real time some of these processes. And we have TextC. These are tools that enable us to, to perform, even more advanced processes with natural language processing. Yeah. Where you are getting to the end, so don't get bored. Yes. So, why is natural language processing? Why is it very important for us? It's very important in several ways. You might think of, I think just like I explained earlier, businesses use natural language processing, in a very large format. So one of the important things, or one of the important as to why we should use natural language processing, is that it helps us, process large volume of textual data. So yeah, we might be in a company or in a business that deals with a lot of data. So natural language processing helps, our computers to be able to communicate with human in their own language, and scale other language related tasks. For example, so natural language processing makes it possible for computers to read and hear speech. They'll be able to interpret this speech. They'll be able to measure sentiment and determine, which parts are important. So businesses, for example, that deals with a large volume of data, you just can't help it not to use natural language processing to be able to, perform some operation. Why? Operations like, translating languages from one end to another. So in a company or in a business, you might be receiving data that are in, for example, French, right? People from France or people from the Francophone countries, they might want to send in their queries to you as a business owner in French, right? People from the Middle East, they will want to send you queries in Arabic. People in Africa would want to send you queries, in different African language. People in Asia would want to send you queries, with Asian languages. So as a business owner, receiving all of this large form of data, you'd be able to use natural language processing, to train your computers to be able to communicate things that you receive, to your employees or your customers, in whatever language it receives input, right? So that's one important as to why we should use natural language processing. The second importance of using NLP is that today's machines, can analyze not just language-based data, without fatigue, and in a very consistent and unbiased way. So these days, humans are supposed to be taking responsibility for all of these processes. But with the advances in machine learning and artificial intelligence, using NLP will be able to automate these processes. So you don't longer need humans to be able to sit down and start translating every feedback they get from customers. So say, for example, if you are familiar with maybe the embassy, right? For example, say the Chinese embassy. So when you're at the embassy, you'd always have Chinese staffs there, and they wouldn't be able to speak English at all. But they do have one thing. They have translators there that translate, things to people. Yeah. So these are some of the things that NLP can do seamlessly. So without fatigue, a machine doesn't get tired. So you just have to train the machine to be able to understand these things. And, it does it in a very consistent and unbiased way. Not like human beings that will be on a desk and, the moment you come in the afternoon, maybe say, for example, at 12 p.m. and the person is tired, just like maybe people in the marketing section, let's use Itoha, for example, and you are there at 12 p.m. trying to talk to Itoha is tired. She will not be able to answer you consistently. In fact, she might even give you wrong information at the point, and stuff like that. So, but with machines handling all of this, they do it in a very consistent and unbiased way. So you don't be bothered about somebody giving you wrong information or not. Yeah, so that's one of the importance as to why we should use NLP. And the last importance as to why we should use NLP is that, it helps us structure, highly unstructured data. So data these days, the world is transitioning into data science, because we deal with data, every single day of our lives, and all of this data, they don't necessarily have to come in structured, right? We might have, just like we explained earlier, we might have some data that include a lot of jargons, scientific words, and things that are unfamiliar, and all of these things become more complex, and is out of a human being's capacity to be able to process all of this unstructured data. That's why we need NLP. That's why we need a machine to train to be able to do all of this, right? Another example is human language. I talked about languages and how this machine can help us translate languages, right? Human language can be complex and diverse. Yeah, we express ourselves differently in different ways, both verbally and in writing. You can compare the way you be expressive with your words the same way a writer, say a fiction writer, would be more descriptive and explanatory as to how he's trying to describe a fictional story, right? There are different ways as to how a writer would express themselves in writing and how you would be able to express yourself in writing. Sometimes we express ourselves differently, even verbally, right? Just like the way I'm speaking, I'm trying to be explanatory as to my presentation, right? I'm expressing myself in a different way. This is not the same way I'll be expressing myself when I'm informally talking to my folks. And I'll be like, how far? What's up? How you doing? Stuff like that. You know, these ways of how we express ourselves is very difficult for human beings um, to be able to process all of those. That's why we have machines, train these machines and they'll be able to do all of these things, without, necessarily, having this cumbersome feeling as to how these processes are made. So those are the basic importance as to why we should use NLP, right? So yeah, I know this is a very interesting part as to most of us would want to know, okay, what are the use cases of this NLP? Who are using it? What are they using it for? Where is it used at? I know somebody will ask after this section, but just to save you from asking that question, let me, combat that from now. So some of the use cases of NLP, how do they use them? Where do they use them? And who are the people using them? Have we ever seen a use case of this? Yes, absolutely. Sentiment analysis, is part of the use cases of natural language processing, just like I explained earlier, right? You have businesses that have to do with customer feedbacks and reviews. Using sentiment analysis, they'll be able, to flag a review as to if this review is positive or if this review is negative, or if this review is neutral. So who are the people that use this sentiment analysis? Our favorite e-commerce stores, they use them, right? Amazon, for example, right? We go on Amazon, we go on eBay, we go on Shopify, we shop for something, we like a particular product, we send our feedback saying, oh, I love this product, Amazon has a way of performing sentiment analysis on its customers' reviews. So it gathers all these reviews, and to be able to know if, you are being positive about your comment, or you are being negative about your comment, or you are being neutral about your comment. All of these things helps Amazon to be able to derive amount of time. Okay, I guess so. Yeah, all of these things will be able to will allow Amazon to be able to derive more insights to that, And just to quickly brush up with this, we also have chatbots. Somebody talked about chatbots in one of the KD section. We now have chatbots that are serving as virtual assistants for us in some of our businesses. Examples of chatbots, we have or virtual assistants, we have Siri, Apple Siri, we have Alexa, and we also have Cortana and all of those. We have market research and market intelligence, email classification, and the likes. Let's just summarize all of this. I think we are really, really out of time. So natural language processing strives to build machines, to be able to understand and respond to text and voice and all of those. We are able to see the components of natural language processing. We're also able to see the techniques as how to work with natural language processing and all of those. Just to make this clear, the Python language provides a wide range of tools and libraries for this. So if you are wondering how to use the tools for NLP, these tools are based on the Python language. Yeah, so in conclusion, right, according to Bill Gates, he said NLP is made possible for machines to become our friends. So these days we are now talking to robots and the machines, and they're able to answer us even better than human beings. In fact, some machines can even serve as as therapists to us. So if you have a heartbreak, just chop breakfast, you can go to a bot and a bot will heal you. It's not. Yeah, so that's basically it for it. Thank you for your time. I hope you all enjoyed this presentation. And yeah, if you have any question, keep them rolling. I know the time is off.